Today, we are going to talk about the Paradigm Founder 80 speakers. Now, Paradigm is a Canadian company that has been around for about 40 years. The Founder 80 speaker, one of their more premium line, is made in a factory near Toronto, about 7 hours from where I live. Now, although I had auditioned over 100 pairs of speakers at my place, strangely, I had never had a Paradigm speaker. So you can imagine my excitement when I got my hands on one. So my audio buddies, let's talk about the Founder 80 speakers from Paradigm today. Now, let me start by telling you a story. The first characteristic that caught my attention with the Founder 80 speakers, well, you know what, which I'll call 80 from now, was this wide and airy soundstage. Now, this wide soundstage might be due to the waveguide because it reminded me of other speakers with waveguide I have previously listened to. Now, thanks to the aluminum magnesium tweeter, the top end of the Founder 80 is very detailed so that it can reproduce all the micro details in the recording. So why is this important to me? See, I recently attended the recording session of the album Songe at the Saint-Benoît de Mirabel Church. The cellist Vincent Bélanger, the main driving force of the album, told me he wanted to record this album in this old church because he wanted the atmosphere of the church to be a part of the music. As an audiophile who pays attention to nuances in the recording, this was interesting for me. So I attended their practice session to see how live instruments sounded in a normal room, as well as the concert at the church to hear the differences. I also attended the setup session at the church to familiarize myself with how live instruments sounded up close and far away. So why? The recording engineers set up the recording microphone close to the musician. My goal was to see if the Founder 80 speakers could recreate my experience at the event. So after the concert, I asked Jay to send me the recording so I could listen to it at home with the Founder 80 speakers. The first thing that struck me listening at home was how transparent these speakers were. I felt really close to the musicians. The tweeter was so detailed that I could hear everything. The clarity this 80 has made me feel like I'm very close to the musician. Also, the ability of this Founder to recreate distance and space was excellent. For example, at one point in the performance, 4 instruments were playing simultaneously: the cello, the violin, the harp, and the double bass. And then everyone stopped except the violin playing the final note. The echo of the final note propagating through the church was like, whoa. Maybe my brain added something more because I knew how deep the church was. See, I wish they had recorded the version with the mic a bit further away from the stage to see if the Founder 80 can reproduce the feeling I had when I was sitting further away from the stage. It did gave me that feeling that I was sitting very close to the stage. See, another pleasant surprise I was not expecting was that the speakers could recreate the cello's warmth and the weight of the bass to a satisfactory level. I say this because the energy of a double bass is no joke in a church. Even if I was 20 feet away from the double bass, a simple string plug, man, I could feel the weight. I was concerned that the 80 being only rated down to 50 Hertz would struggle with that, but you know what? It was okay. Would the bigger model Founder 100F be significantly better? Man, I would love to check it out. So that is my interesting story with the Founder 80 and the album Songe. So now let's talk about the speaker. See, it's very interesting how the packaging box is. It specifically tells you where to open it. I love it when a company pays attention to detail. If they spend that kind of energy on packaging box, which has nothing to do with the sound, can you imagine how much energy they have spent on developing the product? See, my speaker came with ruby frostbite finishing. They look amazing to the point, even if you don't need any more speakers, you could buy them just to decorate your room. Instead of the usual dull boxy design like 99% of the speakers, the 80 looks much more interesting. See, the Founder 80 is a 2.5-way 4-driver speaker. It comes with a 1-inch aluminum magnesium tweeter housed in a waveguide, which, as I mentioned earlier, perhaps explains the soundstage width, easily extending beyond the speakers. If you look closely at the tweeter, it has what is called PPA, which stands for Perforated Phase Aligning Lens. Now the same goes for the mid-range. It has a 6-inch aluminum magnesium driver with PPA technology. Beyond helping it improve overall performance, this lens gives these speakers a unique look. It's gorgeous, and because of this lens, man, I can tell it is a paradigm speaker from a mile away. You know, a bit like being able to spot a Macintosh from far away because of the meters. Next are the two 6-inch ultra-high Excursion Carbon X unibody bass drivers. Now, let me translate that to English. The bass kick-ass. The speakers are not heavy, only 52 pounds each. It has a sensitivity of 93 dB, and I drove it with 4-watt tube amps with great results. Finally, the frequency response is 50 Hz to 23 kHz. See, I was surprised by that because it feels like it can go way lower than that. So why do I say that? So I used this track to test every speaker in my house. The track is called Fading Sun from the album Winter Songs. There are many sound effects, and at the beginning of that song, there is this low frequency rumbling effect. It really showcases how low your speakers can go. All the stand mount speakers I've tested fail in the sense that I hear almost nothing with the opening of that track, and I don't feel my floor rumbling. Many floor standing speakers will fail this test too. So this 80 can reproduce that low rumbling sound clearly. So I was not expecting that when I saw the specs, like 50 Hz only. No wonder it was able to recreate the weight of the double bass pretty okay. You should test your speakers with this soundtrack. If your jaw does not drop with the song's opening, it means it's time to upgrade. I'm just kidding. So how do these speakers sound? If there's a checklist of what a modern audiophile speaker should have, the 80 will check every box. You want clarity, you want resolution, you want detail, check. You know. Oh, I do want to say a word about the tweeter. I've listened to many speakers with metal-based tweeters, and usually the higher-end expensive ones sound more effortless and refined. The tweeter on this $4,000 speaker reminds me more of the higher-end speakers. The highs are detailed, but it doesn't feel like the sound is forced. So it doesn't sound like a cheap tweeter like some of the other $4,000 speakers I've listened to. So do you want a strong center image that almost makes you feel like the singer is transported into your home? Check. Do you want pinpoint imaging with an airy wide soundstage that stretches beyond the speakers? Check. Do you want a clean and clear mid-range that allows you to hear the saliva, the singer's saliva? Check. Do you want a bass that is tight and fast with detail? Check. You know that saying? Clean bass, chest pounding clean bass? Hey man, it has it. Finally, multi-layer soundstage, of course. So if you're looking for everything I just described, man, give the 80 a serious edition. So who are these speakers not for? Okay, if you prefer the softer, smoother, more laid-back musical presentation that you want to relax and fall asleep to, I mean it positively, okay? These are not for you. Whenever I listen to these 80s, I'm always alert and attentive. These speakers are lively, have extreme clarity, and are very vivid. My friend whom I call Mr. Cantor, who owns Focal speakers and Siltech ultra-high resolving cables, love these speakers to death. If you prefer speakers like monitor audio, you can buy these 80 blind, and you'll most likely love them. Now, having said that, if those kind of speakers who are known for extreme resolution are not your thing, still give the 80 a try, but make sure you audition them before buying. I say this because the 80 can handle some of the tracks that I know are bright with no problem. The key point is to have the correct expectations and be aware there's definitely a lot of emphasis on the top end. So let's end the video here. Now, one of the reasons I was able to have more fun than usual with these speakers is that they are easy to drive. It is rated at 93 dB, and it opened up many possibilities for me. I can pair them with single-ended low-power tube amp, as well as high-power class A, B, and D amps. And I even was using 4-watt amplifier with it. And great results. So when I wanted the speaker to sound more musical, I would pair it with softer tube amps. And when I wanted to sound more analytical, I would pair with a high-power class D amp. So many possibilities because it is easy to drive. Now, the Founder 80 brought back a lot of memories for me because it reminded me when I first started my audio journey. At that time, I had a preference for speakers with extreme clarity, and I've tested a lot of them. I would say if you love speakers that are transparent, you have to give the Founder 80 a try because of the tweeter. Maybe because it's made of aluminum magnesium, its performance belongs more to a higher class than what its price suggests. Very refined, smooth, effortless in that sense. Okay? So with that, I will speak to you next time.